Right now, somewhere in the world, a country is collapsing. The shelves are empty, the currency is worthless, and people are watching their life savings evaporate. But just a decade ago, that exact same place was thriving. We must ask how an economy goes from booming to broken in a matter of years. And more uncomfortably, if those same sequences are already in motion where you live. Economies do not grow or crash by accident. They operate on strict mechanical patterns that determine the value of your work and the safety of your savings. To see exactly how those gears grind to a halt, we need to assemble a functioning economy from the ground up. Understanding these mechanisms changes how you look at every financial decision you will ever make. Imagine one person on an island. He catches one fish a day and he eats one fish a day. There is nothing left over. In this state, progress is impossible. Then he makes a sacrifice. For 3 days, he goes hungry. He uses that time to build a fishing net. Instead, this chart tracks the result. With the new net, his daily output jumps to 5 fish. He still only eats 2. The gap between what he produces and what he consumes is a surplus. This is the absolute requirement for growth. You must produce more than you consume. That leftover surplus is the fuel that has ignited every economy in human history. A second person arrives on the island. She can't fish, but she weaves baskets. The fisherman trades her 2 fish for a basket. They are both better off than before. This is the birth of a market. As more people join, they specialize. One farms, one builds, one teaches. Specialization creates efficiency, which creates a larger surplus, driving the trade that generates wealth for the entire group. Eventually, direct trade hits a wall. If a farmer wants shoes, but the shoemaker doesn't want vegetables, they need a common medium of exchange. Money solves this. It represents a collective psychological agreement, a shared trust that a specific symbol holds a real representative value. As long as that trust holds, the economic machine flourishes and expands across an entire civilization. Credit acts as the third engine of growth. It allows a business to expand massively today by borrowing against the productivity of tomorrow. A lender injects capital into a bakery. The baker hires workers. Those workers spend their wages at the local butcher and tailor. The initial loan cascades through the system, creating a multiplier effect. Each borrowed dollar becomes spending for someone else, then income for another. Credit pulls future prosperity into the present. It allows us to build today what would otherwise take decades to save for. While this is a powerful force for building wealth, it is inherently dangerous because it relies on the assumption that tomorrow will always be more productive than today. This creates a cycle. Every loan must be repaid. Yet during good times, our collective optimism often outpaces our ability to settle the tab. When confidence is high, credit flows rapidly. Banks lend more, governments spend more, and asset prices climb. People feel rich, encouraging even more borrowing. Eventually, the cost of repayment starts to consume income. People must reduce their spending to pay back what they borrowed. The engine begins to sputter as consumption drops. Then, a shock to the system shatters that fragile confidence. Whether it is a bank failure or a geopolitical shift, the result is the same. Everyone wants their money back at once. Suddenly, credit freezes. Businesses lay off workers. Those workers stop spending, causing more shops to close. The very mechanism that built the economy now accelerates its collapse. This leads to a deflationary spiral. Prices fall, but people stop buying, waiting for prices to drop. Further, fear replaces consumption and the economy grinds to a halt. While incomes fall, the nominal value of debt remains fixed. This makes the debt mathematically heavier to carry, leading to a wave of defaults and bank insolvencies. We saw this exact pattern during the 1930s Great Depression. The same panic reappeared in Japan, the 2008 crash, and modern crisis in South America. Because these crashes follow established cycles, they can be anticipated and navigated by those who understand the mechanics. Recovery begins with a painful reset. Bad debts are written down or erased entirely. Much like a forest fire clearing away dead wood, this allows for the possibility of new growth. Governments then step in to lower interest rates and fund productive capacity. investing in the real-world infrastructure and education that creates value rather than just inflating asset prices. Confidence slowly returns as new credit flows to productive businesses. Jobs emerge, and the gears of the machine begin to turn once more. This cycle is a permanent feature of human civilization. Every recovery contains the elements of the next boom, and every boom eventually hides the seeds of the next crisis. Cycle awareness prevents emotional panic. It allows you to make decisions based on structural reality rather than the fear or greed of the daily news cycle. During a boom, the most prepared individuals focus on reducing debt and building tangible assets, avoiding the speculative bubbles that trap others. In a crash, these same individuals look for the opportunities created by low competition and bottomed-out prices. Frameworks to track these cycles are now widely available through the work of investors like Ray Dalio, and digital tools that monitor global economic indicators. Building wealth across generations requires mastering these rules of the game. In an unstable world, financial literacy is a vital survival skill. History shows these mechanics deciding the fate of civilizations. Empires rise when they maintain a surplus and expand credit wisely. They fall when they begin consuming more than they produce and borrowing more than they can repay. We saw it in Mesopotamia. It happened in Rome as the trust in their currency eroded, and it repeated in the Ottoman Empire when their debts finally outweighed their production. Ultimately, every gear in the economic machine is turned by human behavior. Our collective ambition, our fear, and our hope. Understanding this gives you the power to see the world as it actually is. Next, we are going deep into why currencies specifically collapse and the exact steps individuals take to survive when they do. See you there.